Good evening. It's January 4th, 2021. How fucking hilarious. Many have seen my last video because you were trying to argue with me on the movie released by YouTube 4 days ago called the Alamo. Bad move. Okay, let's get up close here now. Sorry, I'm out in the lab right now. It's may not be nice to you, but it's nice to me. You know, I've really loved the last 4 days or so because, especially, one of the irritants that were attacking me was a Mexican. That's Meskin, who said he was a Mexican, not a Mexican American, who attacked me and others under 9 different YouTube channels. What a loser. You think I can't track you down? 4 or 5 of them were just created in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, look at that. All still there. You know, most of my subscribers hate me, and I mention that because in the last 4 days I've had, let's see, I was down to 32, I went up to 35, 36, lost 4, 5, 6, back down to 35, because of a single movie made by Disney, which uses, this is the beauty of it, I've been trying to reply because one of them won Raymond Andre, Andree, which is not Spanish spelling, Sanchez, kept attacking me on every post I made, and I still dominate the entire movie because, and it took only a day or so for me to, I wasn't at first, I was just arguing points, which is what we do. But you know what? After a while, I realized that I could see the pattern. That's the thing about genius. And they say it's about schizophrenics sometimes, but the key characteristic of genius is recognition of patterns. Only about 4 minutes in, so I got plenty of time. And you know what? Early on, I saw that the people attacking me on a movie, that's the Billy Bob Thornton Disney movie, which Disney runs these algorithms. If you say the word, I've already learned, pervert, deviant, pedophile, etc., they, you know, as soon as I put those words, as soon as I type them in, my screen begins to flicker like one half of it, or because I know that tells me I know they're going to block it. The last Alamo movie starring Billy Bob Thornton, etc., is a Disney production. You can't get away with the real truth on Disney. That's the simple fact of it. So the point I'm making is that for the last, actually, at least 4 days, right after my last video, I've had one single Mexican. He's repeated that often. He never says he's a Mexican American. He's on there to try to drag down that movie and the incredible humiliation of the Spaniards at the Alamo, which we Anglos have been humiliating Spaniards for 4 centuries. They have this really bad grudge, man. I'm telling you. 400 years ago, please don't make me look it up. The Spanish Armada sailed up the English Channel, and we, waiting on the far eastern end of the English Channel, just loaded up a shipload of kegs of gunpowder, shot, chain, nails, everything. And while those Spaniards were sleeping during the middle of the night after humping each other's legs, etc., like they did at the Battle of San Jacinto. The reason we Texians beat the Mexicans was because we know they always took siesta after lunch. And my great-grandfather, William Wayne Hill, who was the actual real founder of the state of Texas, and stuff, it was his money, etc. Our funny little strange great-great-uncle Stephen Fuller Austin, the Austins were broke. They got a lot of their money from us and other families like the Bryans and the Perrys, etc., on the first grant. But my point is that we defeated Santa Anna, which I just got through telling a guy that Carlos Santana, who I worked for in 1976, was a straight-up pedophile. It'll take him a while for him to digest that. I was hired by Chapito Arias, A-R-I-A-S, because I'm endlessly trying to correct, spell, or autocorrect on every medium, but this is what happened in Texas. My great-grandfather, William Wayne Hill, long ago in the early 1800s, had access or bought the travelogues of both a French and, I'm sorry, I'm getting my leg up right now, French and Spanish explorer. Yes. He knew, actually, that's my question I've got out there right now to keep me on top. I really totally dominated YouTube's free movie presentation of The Alamo starring Billy Bob Thornton, because after a day or so, I just went to the top and said, this is the question to you. Why did a bunch of Virginians decide to come to Texas? They haven't answered it yet. You'll have to come to my channel. I'm going to tell you right now. We came because coming into the eastern edge of Oklahoma and going down to right where I live right now was the last of the Blackland Prairie in America. Simple as that. we came right to where I live right now because in the rest of the planet, uh, some places where they had soil that was plenty rich, but it was only warm for like 1 month out of the year. It takes 4 warm, hot months to grow cotton, etc. We came here because this was the last of black land prairie. Actually, the weather here, as noted by many travelers through space and time, was unique because actually, if you look at the old jet stream maps and stuff like that, right where I live, the jet stream comes from across the northern tier of states, makes a 170-degree turn to come to right where I'm at, and then makes about a 140-degree turn right up to Boston and Bangor, etc. You know, I used to go up to Maine. I always knew what the weather would be because of watching the maps of the jet stream. It's always cooler here than in town. It's always warmer here than in town. And here where I live, you could grow crops. You actually could grow 2 cotton crops if you dare to. You could have, as your animals, your livestock wouldn't suffer from, it was the awesome weather. That's why we came here. We knew what we were doing. Now that I'm at 12 minutes, I'm going to go back to the idiots I was talking about. I've been talking with one Mexican, never said he was a Mexican American and stuff, and another guy, Cato the Great, 80, or who claims to be the grandson of the guy who ran the Texas Historical Society, which is not the Texas Historical Commission. He's been on there attacking all of us for 4 days. He's not winning. You're just not winning. Because, number one, the society and the commission are separated. The commission must respond to we, like me. I have a historical, that way, have an historical cemetery 2,000 feet away. I'm surrounded by historical cemeteries. I know the all property boundaries and stuff like that. And I was chosen by my mother as the last of 8 children to be the keeper of the oral tradition, which has been proven by many well-paid genealogists. I may go 30 minutes or I may go 20 minutes. I don't care. You know, when YouTube put out the Billy Bob Thornton version of the Alamo, I know there would be a bunch of proud people who were just Johnny-come-latelys and Yankees who wrote Texas history sitting on bar stools. But I quickly found out that there would be several Mexicans on there trying to refight that battle. You lost, go away, fuck off. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm going to, because I can always just upload this while I'm sleeping tonight, like the last video. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm transmitting to a tower 14 miles away. None of you know where the fuck I'm at, so good luck. Okay. It's been really, really hilarious because a guy called Cato the Great, something. Keeps saying he's the son of the president of the Texas Historical Society, which is different than the Historical Commission, which we have control over. You say something wrong, we present evidence, you go away. Okay? And right off the bat, I know this guy was, because actually, if you're a native Texan and member of those societies, as he claimed later, had access to the Texas Historical Commission's records archives for decades, you're not going to call yourself a Caddo, because the Caddos, which actually set right here on this property for thousands of years, watching the buffalo come by to run down and raid them. On that particular post on YouTube, that the movie The Alamo, starring Billy Bob Thornton, etc., I put out several challenges. Like, I gave them at least 2 and then eventually 3 points to triangulate me and say, where am I? And these people that claim to know it all couldn't even fucking locate me. What a bunch of ridiculous rat bastards. And like I always say, why do you need glasses and you have a bottle? The last few days have been just really, in the last like 4 or 5 days, I've gotten more responses or argumentation on YouTube in my entire life, because they've never run into anybody like me. I live here on top of the hill, the highest hill in this county. I got to tell you where. And just across the street, my retarded neighbor who really lives in San Antonio, who built a giant barn over an oak log. God, what a retard. Over a fraction, it's just a little corner of an oak log, what we call dog trot house, which is owned by my great-grandfather, William Wayne Hill. And you know what, EJ? You try to tell me when you showed it to me that, hey, I thought it was a corn crib or something. EJ, corn cribs are always made out of split rails, and they're always separated by several inches and stuff like that. EJ Moser, San Antonio, Texas, who his shoppy people are here around me. They're a bunch of assholes that are annoying me now. I may go 30 minutes. Nobody around here built houses that look like a corn crib. What you showed me was a house of expertly, carved 12 to 14 inch old growth oak timbers here on top of the hill. Nobody built. That's the very. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, my last cigarette just landed on the Japanese stove between my feet, which will probably get me high because it's nicotine. Anyway. EJ Moser, Mosser, in San Antonio, Texas. may have been born in this county, but he's a total, look, the guy's a multimillionaire. I give him that. But it's from hard work and the Catholic good, good ethics and stuff like that. But he's a complete retard because he knows nothing about my neighborhood. You know nothing about my neighborhood. Oh, gosh. Long ago, I was shown by EJ the giant barn that he built over just a tiny corner of what we call a dog trot house of the original Texian colony, which I knew immediately belonged to my great-grandfather. I've contacted the Texas Historical Commission, etc. I've asked them several times, tell me why we're here. Almost everybody in the Texas Historical Commission are a bunch of retarded Yankees or Tennesseans or Johnny-come-latelys who learned their history sitting on a bar stool somewhere. It's bullshit. These people are a bunch of retards. We're here because, as I think I pointed out earlier, there was a little strip, a little block of the last of the black land prairie in America coming into eastern Oklahoma and then right down to where I live right here. It's pretty much all gone now. I prefer very intelligent people, but the fact is I got to make my life surrounded by people that aren't even worthy of a GED. Almost all my neighbors, they're all GEDers. I have 7 minutes before I'm going to start uploading. In these last few days, actually, I noticed when I logged back in this afternoon, after taking care of a bunch of shit, I noticed I had stopped pretty much any kind of argumentation on the movie The Alamo, Disney produced, released by YouTube 4 days ago, because most people could see that if you said something stupid, I was going to be right up your bunghole, buddy. Still do it. I've been doing it on like 4 movies released within the last 4 days by YouTube. So, my point here is that you, millennials, and the parents of millennials, and all the rest of you, you continue to violate what I said in the last video, which is what Gung Fu Zhu said. He said, at 15, I became a student. He was a student long before that. And at 30, I knew where to stand, which means I knew which questions to ask finally. Listen, if you're under 30, don't even fuck with me. You don't even know the questions to ask. And I've been dealing with 4 days, it's going to 4 days, dealing with one Mexican, not a Mexican American, who has at least 9 channels traced to him. I did it because 5 of them were only created 2 weeks ago and stuff like that. And they all kind of say the same thing. Please, pattern recognition is one of the defining factors of genius. Some say schizophrenia, but you're full of shit. I see patterns. No. Pattern recognition is one of the defining elements of genius like I possess. I'm going to go 30 minutes, and when I go to bed and eat and stuff like that, when I wake up in the morning, it'll be through. Because YouTube has changed us all. You know, in the past, YouTube, if you went 1 second over 15 minutes on your 50-page YouTube contract, it would pretend it, and then they would just let you know, nope, failed to upload because you went 1 second over. Nowadays, people upload all kind of crap, and I'm in the mood to yak. I'm going to go 35 or 40 minutes. You know, a lot of these people that were coming on, look it up. The Alamo, Billy Bob Thornton, released recently by YouTube for free. And it's totally a Disney production because it's so clean and squeaky white, yada, yada. Doesn't show the gore of the Alamo. My cousin, my Buchanan cousin, died at the Alamo. And just, let's see, just a few miles in that direction is where his son is buried, which is Buchanan's wife named, I think she was pregnant when he went to the Alamo. She named their son after him, and Sam Houston was a bit of a scamp. If you don't know the real history, he was he used to exaggerate his war wounds. Simple as that. Everybody knows that around here. So, what was the name? James Houston Buchanan. I had a cousin die at the Alamo, and I'm dealing with people that have no association with the Alamo. This one Dutch guy goes, I went to the Alamo, yeah. I saw the old oak tree. Please, there's no old growth anywhere in San Antonio. It's pronounced San Antone. And I've been dealing with all these idiots for 4 days and just hammering them down. And it's just been amazing. I ran into a group of people that really don't have any genetic connection to the Alamo, the Battle of Goliad, or San Jacinto, Sanjak. I do, because my great-great-grandfather, who had 3 white wives, as my mother told me, always, he was so rich, he had 3 white wives, and they didn't have to work in the fields, which meant he had plenty of slaves, and please, you people are fucking retarded.